Hello everybody, today is Monday, February 8th, 2021, and I am Ashley Fields with the IRS. Give me just 1 second and let me get my comments pulled up. I believe I'm a couple minutes early tonight. There we go, let's see. Okay, I think we're good. Hello everybody. Y'all, tonight we're gonna be doing our Happy Easter cross. Hey Debbie, how are you, babe? Here is the version we are going to be working on tonight. I did have to go ahead and base coat one. So in order to base coat, I had to get the plaid done. So what I did is on the back of this one, I just have a nice yellow backing that we will do our plaid on, just so we can, you know, do the plaid together and talk about the plaid. And then we'll move on to kind of all of the detail work that we have going on here. So really, I did a plaid background, and then all of the letters I kind of base coated with a script liner. And from there, we will do all of the detail work. Hello, my dear. Let me see, I had this sitting. I'm trying to just make sure there's nothing wet on my table paint-wise. Because I obviously don't want to mess up the surface or the face of my product, because this side is finished. I'm using the back side just to show you guys the plaid. I know y'all have seen plaid before. We've done plaid several times, but for anybody who maybe has not seen plaid, I obviously wanted to kind of go through and show you how to do that. So Debbie, I'm so glad to hear you're doing good. Let me see. I'm just trying to kind of get right down the middle on here. Okay, so I'm starting out, I want to say this tape is probably 1.25 inches, maybe 1.5 inches at best. This is a Scotch, it says number 2060. So I'm sure if you look that up on Amazon, you could get the exact width, but I'm just kind of eyeballing and guesstimating. Okay, the first piece I put down is the piece I'm gonna leave down, right? The next piece, it's really just a trash piece. It's just so that I can know my distance between my lines. I definitely want that distance between each line to be consistent. So that trash piece is really only for that. It's just to help me make sure that I have consistent spacing. So you could call it a trash piece, you could call it a spacer, either way. That's really its only job, is to create that space between each set of tape, so that all of my plaid looks, what's the word? Evenly spaced, I guess, is what I'm really trying to say. So, y'all, I didn't do it on this one, but I do think that this could be done really cute with even a cross, like a crisscross plaid. Instead of going horizontal and vertical, you do diagonal lines. I think this cross could look really cute with that. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Mom. Just kind of getting these down. I was telling Debbie at the very beginning, I only had 2 crosses here at my house, okay? One was already finished, and then one to teach with. And so the one I'm teaching with, I needed to go ahead and base coat. So in order to base coat, I had to do the plaid already on it. So I'm really just using the back of my finished piece to show you guys plaid, because the piece I'm going to be using that is already base coated obviously has the plaid done in the background, because it is the very first thing that I'm doing. So I had to be able to, or I had to do it first in order to get some base coating on there so that we could paint it on Alive. So right now, just getting that tape down. Every other piece is pretty essentially your new tape, right? So I got that new tape. I'm using that trash piece. That trash piece is really just a spacer. So I reuse that trash piece every time, just to ensure that I have the proper space in between each layer. Now let me just double check. I guess I could use one little piece down here. It's not a whole lot, but I have found that if I try to skip out on a piece because I feel like, oh, that's not much, you know, it might be a 1/4 inch, it does look off. So if it's as big as a 1/4 inch, I will go ahead and tape it. If it's something like an 1/8 inch, I won't so much worry about it. All right, so I got my tape down. My background is just that light yellow. And so I'm going to use shading yellow. I'm gonna stick that back on top of my tape because, like I said, I don't want to get that front of this piece messed up, right? Because the front of my piece is finished. I'm just using the back for teaching purposes. So if this part gets messed up, I don't care. I just definitely don't want the front to get messed up. Hey Debbie, hey Connie, how are y'all? Let's see, Jennifer says, caught just a glimpse of the other side and it's so pretty. Thank you, Jennifer. Y'all, here's the finished piece. This is what we're actually doing tonight. I'm just showing you the plaid on the back of this one because the one I'm using to teach with tonight, I had to get base coated, so it already has the plaid in the background. So I'm just showing you the back as a sample, just to show you the plaid look. So let's see, I'm gonna now get that shading yellow. Y'all already know we have the paint, or we kind of have our color choices matched down. So we have a shading version for every kind of base coat color that we have. So if I have yellow as my base coat, I'm using shading yellow as my shade color. I'm also using a wet wipe tonight, just a plain wet wipe. This just happens to be a Pampers wipe. I got these off of Amazon, you know, pretty cheap. Baby wipe doesn't matter, the brand doesn't matter, but baby wipes are just really nice because you can get a really fine kind of color out of it. Now I know right now it's really, really thick. All I'm doing is I'm taking up a little bit of that paint into my wet wipe, and then I'm coming along those stripes and just pulling that paint across in the same direction that my tape is going. I always stick with the same direction, meaning if my tape is horizontal, I'm gonna do horizontal stripes. You could do the opposite of that. As long as you kind of stick with the same pattern all the way across, it'll look really good. Me personally, I just kind of, you know, y'all know me, I prefer the same thing. I'm a fan of repetition and kind of doing that same thing every time. So I'm really just putting a little bit of paint on, and I'm honestly trying to pull most of it right back off. I don't want a lot of paint left behind. I want it to be really, really light and almost like a wispy kind of background. I don't want a thick background. I want to still be able to see a little bit of that yellow through. And the reason that I do that is then whenever I go back and I come across and I'm doing the opposite stripes, then I really get a nice layover between the two layers, and then you can really see that difference between when your perpendicular and your parallel lines sit on top of each other. I think I just need a dab more of paint on here. All I'm trying to do, y'all, is get that consistent color between each kind of stripe, right? So I'm just looking for consistency all the way through. All right, now that I've got those lines done, I'll go ahead and take my tape off. If you're somebody who maybe you want thicker, you want your paint on a little bit thicker, feel free to use a chip brush. I use the baby wipe when I'm preferring that coat of paint to be a little thinner. So that's kind of how I decide between a baby wipe and a chip brush or a paintbrush. So let's see, Mary says, so you don't use a brush at all when you do the plaid. Yeah, I think I just explained that. It's really just a personal preference. It's whether you want a light coat of your shading color or you want a thicker coat of your shading color. Oopsies. I got a little boo-boo over there. So look up close, guys. As you can see, you can still see through that shading, right? It's not really thick. Now, when I'm gonna go across and do my vertical lines, they're gonna come out where each time that those intersect, that intersection is gonna be a little bit darker. That's exactly why I like the lighter plaid look, because I want my intersections to be dark. Now, because I'm using a baby wipe, it does dry rather quickly, right? So I can kind of keep on going. So let me pull that tape right back out. All I'm doing whenever I'm taping this off is I'm staying in the middle. I'm kind of using the crossbar of the center of the cross to help me see that I'm staying in the middle. So I use that as my, almost my, my compass or my lines. I don't know it for sure, but you know, I'm eyeballing, trying to get in the middle. It ain't always perfect. I know it ain't perfect, but that's okay. Hey, Kimberly, how are you, babe? Kimberly, I'm just using the back of a finished Happy Easter cross to show you the plaid because the only other sample I have is already base coated. And since it's base coated, you guys know I had to do the plaid first. That's the very first job that I have, if that is my background, whenever I am going to go base coat. So we're just kind of doing the plaid on the back of our finished piece for the sake of, you know, just talking about the plaid, talking about how we do it, that sort of thing. So I'm just going to continue kind of taping off. Every time I tape a new line, I pull up that trash piece or my spacer and set that down just to make sure that every line is exactly the same width apart. So taking that trash piece, that spacer, kind of button it up right with my lines or with my tape that's already there. And then I take my new spots of tape and I just back them right up to those spacer lines. This is just to ensure that every single stripe is the same width apart. All right, just a little bit more. We don't have much more on this guy. Trying to be really gentle with this piece because I just do not want to mess up that front, y'all. I don't want to mess that up. It's already done. All right, so there. Now I'm ready for the rest of my plaid. Again, I'm going to go ahead and use that same baby wipe I've already been using, that same shading yellow. We're going to put a little bit more shading yellow down, and we're simply going to pull it the length of the stripes that are already down in front of me, the length of your tape. So getting a little bit put on. Obviously that is a really, really thick line. So now I'm going to take that paint that I just set down on that stripe and I'm going to use that paint to kind of fill in my other stripes. I definitely prefer my plaid, like I said, to be light. And I'm going to show you why, because you want to be able to see that crisscross, right? That's what really is going to make a really pretty plaid, when you can see all the lines that you did. If you do this really thick, by the time you take the tape off, you're not going to see the strokes from any of your lines. It is going to be plaid, of course, but it's going to be more like a perpendicular and parallel lines as opposed to having those kind of intersections be a little darker. I want my intersecting lines to have a darker square. And that is why I like to use the baby wipes, and I like to use a light hand so that every intersecting square is a little bit of a darker tone. To me, that's just how you're going to get a pretty plaid. Okay, so let's look at it. Obviously you have your light yellow background, right? You could see here your kind of lighter stripes, but then notice where your squares are, right here, right here, right here, where everything intersects. It's got a little bit of a more of a darkness to it, so it just stands out a little more. So that's how I did the yellow plaid on the front. I'm just showing you on the back because I didn't have any other extra pieces to kind of show you on. Hey Pam, how are you doing? Kimberly says, I'm fighting with the PayPal account on 3 unauthorized transactions. Yay. Oh no, that's never fun. I'm so sorry, my dear. Let's see, my mom says, your dad is at the store working with the plumbers trying to get the toilets unclogged. They've been working since about 3. Don't think it's going very well. That doesn't sound fun either. Debbie says, I'm amazed. Thank you, Debbie. Pam, very nice. I love the plaid. Thank you, Pam. Y'all, that's just a real quick, easy plaid tutorial that I did on the front, but obviously I'm just using the back as an example because I had to already base coat this in order for us to work on it tonight. And so as you can see, before I base coat anything, plaid's that first step. So I had to do the plaid first. So I just, you know, here's our finished piece. I'm just using the back side just as an example. Now I can just paint right back over this. Honestly, this is a sample, so I'll probably just leave it and throw a stake in it and call it a day. But that was our quick little plaid tutorial. I'm gonna stick this one back here behind me. I think y'all can see it better over there. That'll work. Okay, now obviously this one I have the plaid done, and all I did was base coat my colors because I'm gonna be doing some polka dots on here. I'm gonna be doing some kind of outline work on the edges, and I needed to have that base colors already dry. So let's just talk about what I got on here so far. My E and my P, these are shading pink. I used my shading colors. Excuse me, y'all. I used my shading colors because I wanted it to be a little bit darker so that it would really pop and kind of stand out. So I started with shading pink. Then I have shading orange on the H and the T. The A and the R and Easter are done with medium blue. The S and the Y are done with lime green. And then the P and the E is shading purple. Now up here on my butterfly, I got a little bit on here, so we're gonna have to finish our butterfly together. I just did some coral back here, okay? And then on my flower, I have a little bit of light purple and then some lime green. Now let's, I gotta think for a second. I know that, let me see. I washed some brushes today, so first I need to kind of get my brushes back in order. I'm going to be using mostly, honestly, this pattern is, I don't think I did not use the shader at all. I used baby wipes to do the plaid, and pretty much all the rest of the work I did with script liners. So y'all know, here's my script liners. This one is my old rickety raggedy one that gives me those really thick lines. This one is the same exact brush, just a newer one that's still nice, flat, and a skinny, very fine tip. So I'm gonna be using these two. I kind of used my rickety rackety broken in script liner for that base coat. But most of that detail work, I need the real fine script liner for. This is probably what most of your script liners look like. You know, y'all know me, I use my script liners and just, I wear them out until I gotta throw them away. So, let me see, I want to first see, we're gonna do our polka dots on our letters first, because that, I noticed, no, I'm trying to think. Maybe I wanna do the black first, because whenever I was painting the version behind me, I did the polka dots, and then when I came in to do the black, it really started to make a mess. So let me do some black, kind of a shadowing effect on these letters, right? So I heard somebody say, can you guys see me? Am I breaking out? I don't know. Hopefully not. I thought I was hooked up to the right Wi-Fi.
Okay, got it back now.
Okay. Never mind. My husband just came in and showed me a text message that said the video was breaking out. But y'all let me know if it is, and I will try to change my Wi-Fi. Okay, so let's talk about getting a shadowing kind of effect on your letters. I've seen somebody say that it's almost like if you're standing on the side of your letters on the left or the right or the top or the bottom, wherever it is that you're choosing to put a, sorry Debbie, freezing now and then. Okay, well, I don't know y'all, I'm hooked up to my good Wi-Fi. Hopefully it works. But I want you guys to kind of think of this like you're using a flashlight and you're shining a light on these letters, right? So wherever you're going to see that light shining is where you're going to come in and give it kind of that shadowing effect with some black, okay? Y'all, my black does have a little bit of water added to it. So I'm going to come in on the right side. And again, thinking of this just like I had a flashlight kind of shining on it. And where would I see that light? Ooh, sorry, y'all. It's not so good. Y'all let me know if the Wi-Fi is still having issues. I don't know. As far as my Wi-Fi goes, I have really tried over the last few years to get it to be better. We've spent countless hours working on it, money, hiring companies, all that, and it's still not the greatest. So hopefully this will go okay and you guys can see. Right now I'm just taking a little bit of that black and I'm sticking with one side of that letter. Pretend that you're using a flashlight and you're kind of shining it off to the side. And that's really the only spots that you're going to add a little bit of black highlights to. You were, but you're good now. Freezing now and then. It gets blurry every once in a while, but good now. Y'all, I don't know. I don't know. If it persists, I might stop it and, I don't know, I don't even know what I can do when it's not working. I really don't have the answer. But I could try to stop it and try it again. But I can tell y'all, I am using our Verizon Wi-Fi. I'm not even using my house Wi-Fi because that house Wi-Fi never seems to work. If you guys notice, whenever I'm doing this, I don't go and pick up a lot of paint. Your brush does not need a lot of paint. You just need a little bit in there. See, I'm coming in with that black and I'm just setting it down on one side of there, one side of that letter. It's very subtle. It's not, you know, really in your face and bright, but the overall look of your piece, it will really, really add to it. So I'm just kind of coming in there really lightly with that script liner. Nothing too dark. I really don't want this to kind of poke out to your eyes. I've got the whole word happy done. A little bit. Okay, now I'm gonna go down here with Easter and just kind of finish out the same thing I was just doing, staying on the right side. The thing I find hardest about this pattern is it's just a lot of very small detail work. So it's not hard, but it does take patience. I didn't like how thick that line was, so I'm just kind of coming back. I kind of pulled some of that paint off and just kind of coming right back over top of that line. It's a good thing about using paint. You don't like it the first time around, you can always fix it. Good thing about when it's wet is obviously you can wipe it off and fix it immediately. And a little bit. Let me finish the E and the R and then I'll give you a closer up look of this. I realize it's probably not the easiest thing to see at the moment because these lines are really, really thin. Okay. Now I have that shadow on my letters. Just a little bit. It's not much, but it's enough to already get those letters popping just a little bit, okay? So all I did was really just stick on the right side of the letters and kind of pretending like you've got a flashlight, and where is that flashlight gonna hit? And that's how you decide where to put your lines down. All right, now, when it comes to your polka dots, I personally just did the shading colors for the letters. And so for the polka dots, I just kind of came through with the light version of those letters. So for instance, on my shading pink, I used light pink. On shading purple, I used light purple, and etc. If you don't have all of the colors, you could even just do white, and that would be totally fine. I know the back of the paint list on here did not have everything as far as what I used, but that's because some of this I literally might have used a quarter of a teaspoon of paint, you know. And so hopefully if you have some of this at your house, it'll work out just perfectly for you. If you don't have all of these colors at your house, you could attempt to mix them, or you could even just do white and it'll be just fine. Thank you. Mary says, I like the shadows. Thank you. Kimberly, I like doing letters like this with the shadow effect. Yes, Kimberly, I agree. It looks really good. Y'all, I'm taking that script liner and I'm just going to go straight down for my polka dots. I'm looking for almost like a very, very small kind of polka dot effect. And then when this dries, it's gonna dry almost like braille. Like it'll sit kind of poked up off of your piece because you're doing it so small. And so it's got, you know, kind of just like little mounds of paint. So it does take a while to dry. And this is exactly why I had to do that plaid first on this front side, because I knew I needed that base to be dry, because these polka dots surely need a lot of time to dry. So I'm just really taking that tip of my brush and coming straight down with the corresponding color. So shading pink, I'm obviously using light pink. There's no right or wrong on this. You can make your dots as small or as big as you want to. You can put them as close or as far apart as you want to. Let me just show you up close what that E's looking like. Super cute. We're gonna do our P in the same way. Again, it's kind of like I load a lot onto my brush and then I almost take some off, and I just kind of leave that paint in my brush. So every time I'm doing a polka dot, more of that paint that's at the top will kind of come down, and it allows me to keep moving. So just kind of going straight down. Okay, so far, my mom, Ace is waiting on you to finish so you can hold him. Y'all, my dogs are they're always needy. Acey boy, are you being needy? Huh? He's like, yeah, he's always needy, y'all. I told Zach, I said, he's like a geriatric patient. He literally sits in this chair next to me all day long. The other dogs will go run and play and all that, and he just sits in the chair all day and waits for his dad to come home, because he just loves Zach. He cracks me up. He's a sweet boy though. Let me see. I am just trying to kind of look and get my corresponding colors. That's pink. let's see, I'll grab purple. So I have shading purple on my P and my E. So I'm going to use a little bit of light purple. You get that mixed up. It was a little separated. Okay. So again, same thing, straight down. Kind of making a few little polka dots with just the tip of my brush. gonna turn it and go ahead and do these. Y'all, this pattern is so pretty. I love this pattern. I think it's just adorable. But it definitely is a little bit of more finer detail work than we typically do. And so it's one of those things, like I like to move really fast, and this pattern I can't. And so I kind of have to slow down and, you know, enjoy that painting process a little bit. Because this one, it's not so much about trying to produce a lot of them. You know, it's about trying to really bring it to life. And these little details will do that. They help to bring it to life. Zach, can you close the door? Thank you. Alrighty, there is shading purple with some lighter purple polka dots. We're going to literally continue with the same kind of thing throughout our colors. Now, I want to say lime green. I think I just used white on lime green. I'm trying to look for the blue. What did I use? Okay, so on the medium blue, I actually used brilliant blue. So that's kind of, I call it more of like a cop blue. Let me mix this. So on the medium blue as your background, I used a darker blue. But you could do the darker blue. This is your brilliant blue, or you could even do your light blue, or even your sky blue. There's so many options you could really do with this. I don't think there's any real right or wrong. It's just kind of jazzing up those letters a little bit. And just making them pop. You know, bringing some different colors in there and having it really pop. Let me turn it around, do my A. I kind of find myself sometimes putting my pinky down, almost just trying to help stabilize my hand. And that way, wherever I'm trying to go down and do that more detailed work, my hand won't be shaking all over the place. All right. So there is that brilliant blue on that medium blue. Wash out my brush. It looks like on my lime green I did Christmas green. I'm gonna take that back, y'all. I painted that cross like probably 2 weeks ago, and 2 weeks ago is a long time for me. I'm not always the best at remembering exactly how I did stuff, so I kind of need it. I almost need my samples sometimes just to be able to recreate what I've already done, because I don't recall how I did it. So lime green, I'm just using a little bit of Christmas green polka dots. Same thing, still using that Royal Gold script liner number 4. This one is just a new one, so it's not all bent like you know, my favorite one is. This one probably looks a lot closer to what y'all's look like. Your color choices on these, really you could do just about anything. All I did was I used a darker color on the base of my letters, and then my polka dots, I just used another color in that same family. Traditionally, most of them are lighter, but some of them are darker. As long as I use the same color, I think you know, in that same kind of color family, it worked for me, and I liked it. Debbie says, that's why we use these videos. Yes, because we just, we change it up. Every time y'all probably think, okay, I got it down. Then it's like we do something a little differently, and you're probably like, whoa. you know? Let me see, I need a little, I just need to do that shading orange. So I'm getting a little bit of just your lighter orange, that I think it's like light orange number 16. I'm gonna add a little water to it, because y'all know anytime I have anything in my cups, it already has water added in, but I didn't have any light orange already watered down. So just add a little bit of water to that. I really just need it, it's hard to word this sometimes. I need it watered down enough to where it can be pliable with my script liner. Those of you that have been painting for a while, y'all know that when you go to work with your script liner, a lot of the paints can be really hard to kind of glide and drag along with that script liner if they don't have water added to them. So when you guys see me adding water to them, it's really to make it easier with the brush that I'm using. It's not so much that my paint has to be watered down. It's more of a brush kind of thing. So that's why you see us add water with shaders and with script liners, because you're looking for a different stroke out of that, right? You're looking for it to just move and glide a little bit easier. And so when I'm using that script liner, I like my paint watered down a little bit, because I just feel like it's more pliable, which makes my job a little bit easier. Almost done with our polka dots. Just got my tea to do. And then we can move on to working on our butterfly, our flowers, and some highlights. I even think, I didn't do it on the one behind me, but I do think taking some white highlights over top of your letters could be really cute too. Very, very light. Okay, I think I'm good. Let me give you an up close look at those letters, guys. Look at that S. I know that Christmas green it's harder to see, and that's why maybe using a white on a lime green, a white polka dot might be a little bit better. But there's kind of a look at what I have so far. We did a little, it's not really a highlight, a low light on our letters, like a shadow. And then we just added a little bit of polka dots. Now, let me move my stuff out of the way. If my dog would move out of my way too, that would be great. Hello, what are you doing? Got my little corgi over here between my feet. All right, let's work on our butterfly a little bit. So I did coral and medium blue with some purple. Now, I have a coral base. I'm gonna come in and let's do our purple. Y'all, I'm making sure to use that script liner that has a really, really fine point on it. You want a nice, good tip that you can be using. Let's see, Kimberly says, what if you put dark green on the green letters? Kimberly, that would probably look a little better than that Christmas green that I just used. Y'all, sometimes whenever I'm going to paint stuff, something seems like a good idea, and then I paint it and I'm like, you know, not so much. And that was kind of just now when I was doing that. But I think the first time I did that and I painted it, maybe I wasn't, you know, I thought it looked good, I don't know. But right now I was definitely going, that's not the best color choice. I probably could have found a better color choice. I'm just taking a little bit of that shading purple, guys, and bringing it in here real, real fine. I'm just putting a little bit on that tip of my brush, setting that brush down on these grooves, and just kind of letting it flow. I notice whenever I personally do that real fine detail work, I've kind of just got to slow down and then just let it go. Let my brush glide, and wherever it goes, it goes. If it ain't perfect, it ain't perfect. It's so small that if I tried to get it perfect, I'd be repainting it over and over and over again. And I don't want to have to do that. All right, so just added a little bit of purple in there. Now, while I have this purple out, I'm gonna go ahead and come over here to my flower and just kind of come across right here in the middle. And then I'm gonna do a little bit of outline. Just a little bit. I personally find that this flower and this butterfly is just on the very small side for me. And so as much as my brain is like, yeah, jazz it up and do a lot with it, it's such a small kind of surface area. So I kind of go more with that thought of less is more and kind of keep it a little bit more simple. All right, so purple. Oh, I got some purple antennas. Let me just do my antenna too. Not perfect. It'll work. It will work. Okay, wash out that script liner. Now I'm going to come in and do a little bit of medium blue. I did the medium blue kind of on the body of the butterfly and then on the outside wings as well. Kind of getting that in my brush. Put that brush down inside of those lines. And y'all, whenever I'm first pressing down with my script liner, I'm barely using any pressure at all because that brush still has a lot of paint inside of it. So I'm literally just kind of putting it down in those lines, but I'm not pressing down on it. I'm being very, very gentle with my strokes. Almost like using a crayon and just kind of coming over top of those lines and not trying to distort anything. Same thing over here. Nice and simple so far. All right. Now, over here on my my flower and my vine, I guess you would call it. I don't know what else to call it. It's leaves, but I think it's leaves on a vine. I did not outline in black. In fact, I think I used lime green as the base. I think I took a little bit of green and did some like kind of swipes throughout there. You're talking about a really, really thin line. So I feel like if I started trying to put too much on here, it just will become a blob, and I really don't want that. So I'm kind of just taking a little bit of that paint and coming alongside one of those edges, almost like I did with the letters, and kind of adding a little bit of shading, if you will, onto my leaves. I'm also taking a little bit of that green and just kind of doing a few swish marks down the middle. It's not much, but it's one of those details you'll see up close. So lime green, Christmas green, okay? Now, trying to make sure I can keep up with everybody. Now I'm just, oh no, that flipped upside down. Flipped upside down on top of my piece. Luckily, it's still wet. I think I can fix it and salvage it. But if anybody's done plaid before and you mess up on top of plaid, you don't exactly get a chance to fix it. It doesn't work that easy. So now, y'all, all I'm gonna do is add a little bit of white highlights. The only thing I would say that you could do that I did not do is add a little bit of black and outline your flower and your butterfly. But for me, they're just really, really small. And that detail work, I feel like, because I have a heavier hand, a lot of times if I try to do that, it almost just comes out like a big black blob. And I don't care for that when it comes to my pieces. So now I've got a little bit of white. I'm just kind of going to come in and add a few highlights. Very, very light. I'm still using this kind of your newer brush, right? I'm still trying to keep my lines real thin. I don't want it to be too thick. I want these lines to be rather subtle. Hope you guys can see that. I don't know that you really can, because sometimes when you're putting white over top of yellow, it's hard to see it. But I'll bring it up close here in just a second. While I have this white, I'm going to go ahead and come in along that little vine, just like I added a little bit of Christmas green. I'm just adding a little bit of white. Okay, I'm going to turn it and do the same thing. Add a little bit over here on the sides. A little bit down here. And I'm gonna call it a day. Let me show you guys. There is our Happy Easter cross. Some nice light wispy lines. I tried to keep it very, I guess I try to keep my lines more thin as opposed to thick. Y'all know I'm always doing really thick lines. I was trying to not do that on this piece. So that is my final piece. Only other thing, like I said, if some of you guys think you have a lighter hand than me and you could outline your butterfly or your flower and it wouldn't become just a big blob, then definitely go for it. That small detailed work is personally, my hand is just, it's heavy. And I have a feeling that once I put that down over top of here, I wouldn't like it. And then I can't go back and fix my background. I can't go back and fix that plaid if I do something wrong without you seeing the mistakes. So, for me, I kind of stick on that safe side and I just did not put black on there. But that is my finished look. So hope you guys like it. Debbie says, so cute. Mary, love it. Thank you guys so much. Y'all, I don't have a calendar in front of me. I know I'm live, I think Wednesday or Thursday this week, and I'm doing the Happy Easter egg with a chick. I don't know. I know Mary's live this week. Y'all, I need to get better about getting stuff printed out, but I don't have a printer that works at the moment. So has not happened. Victoria says, love it. The letters really do pop with that black on the side. They almost look like they're 3D on top of the cross. Thank you, Victoria. Hope you're doing well, honey. We've been thinking a lot about you. Debbie says, looks great. Thank you, Debbie. All right, y'all, that's it for tonight. I appreciate y'all coming in and hanging out with me. We will be back live very soon. I know we had a scheduled, I think, paint mixing tutorial for tomorrow afternoon, which will be rescheduled due to a family emergency with Victoria. So let's all give her some virtual hugs and love on her a little bit. And we will see her when she makes it back home and is up to getting back to helping us and teaching us. So thank y'all so much for being here with me. Kimberly, love it. Can't wait to do mine. I'm so excited. Y'all send me some photos when y'all get done. And until next time, y'all keep on painting. Let us know if y'all need any help or have any questions. I'll see you guys later. Y'all enjoy your Monday night. Bye, everybody.